The release of a Christian woman acquitted in Pakistan over charges of blasphemy has been delayed as talks between the government and radical Islamists failed.
Protests have continued for a third day across some of the main cities of Islamabad, Rawalpindi. Demonstrators are demanding that Asia Bibi be publicly hanged despite the Supreme Court overturning her conviction.
Well, the country has been brought to a standstill as protesters clashed with police after blocking a major highway and setting vehicles on fire. Schools and colleges have been shut down and mobile services in major cities have been suspended as well. Now, the military says that its tolerance is up and has told protesters not to force it into taking action.
Well, in 2010, Ms. Bibi was found guilty of insulting the Prophet Muhammad after a row with her neighbours. But in a landmark verdict, the Supreme Court overturned that conviction on Wednesday, saying that the evidence against her was flimsy. Now, for the latest, let's go over to Javed Rana in Islamabad. Javed, have today's protests been as big as the previous 2 days?
Protests are growing in number, but unfortunately, the violence has also grown in its size. There are two kinds of groups in Pakistan which are on the roads. One group which are quite peaceful and they want simply reversal of the verdict. And then there is another group which is kind of very violent. They have set on fire a large number of private and public vehicles, and then they're damaging properties. They've been attacking people who are trying to move on the roads. So that is a terrible part of this entire protest that they are carrying out. Now the government has a very limited option. The fact that it is a very sensitive issue, rather I would say it's the most sensitive issue in Pakistan. And now the government is pursuing a strategy whereby they are basically arresting people, as many as they can, in a manner that it does not provoke a bigger reaction in Pakistan. They have arrested hundreds of such protesters who they thought could potentially indulge in violence. But at the same time, the government is also conscious of the fact that the last year there was a similar situation and there was a police crackdown which had backfired. It had resulted in the killing of 24 of people. So because of these reasons, I think the calculation that the authorities are making, they don't want to conduct an operation, a big operation, at least for the time being, because it is a Friday, and on Friday there is a special Muslim prayer and people gather in masjids, the worship place, and also they move around the roads and the streets. So there is a possibility of maybe a sort of mega operation, particularly on the roads which have been occupied by these violent protesters.
All right, Javed, thanks very much for giving us some insight into those protests. We've been speaking there with Javed Rana, our man in Islamabad. Moving to Indonesia.